All right, ladies and gentlemen of geometry, jumping into 9.3, talking about the surface area of pyramids and cones. So again, find lateral area, find surface area of cones and of pyramids. And we'll talk a little bit about the difference between those. Lateral area means, remember, no base. And surface area is with the base. Surface area is basically lateral area plus the base. So kind of take a look right into it. This would be considered a regular pyramid. It's regular because the altitude goes right up to the vertex. So you've got four lateral areas, four lateral faces, one base. And then this is a new term, slant height. This is going to come in very, very important, more for surface area. Okay, altitude you're going to use for volume. We'll talk about that later. But slant height is more for the surface area. This is what's going to be kind of important. Then again, just figuring out the area of the base. So let's get back into kind of drawing net. So draw the net of this pentagonal pyramid, which is right here, and they actually kind of draw it for you. Now here's what you kind of have to pay attention to. This L represents slant height. Okay, that's just what mathematicians call it. They call it slant height. Slant height, when you open it up, look at here. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. There's my slant height. Now, if you notice, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles. And my L kind of represents the height of that triangle. So this ends up being a base edge. Okay, so like right there or right here. Then this, my slant height, ends up being the height of the triangle, okay, which is what I need. So what I end up doing is taking base times height divided by 2 to figure out my triangle. So now, let's look for the lateral area of a regular pyramid, okay? I'm going to take the perimeter of the base times the slant height, okay, divided by 2. So basically I would take, if I took one side times height divided by 2, all right, but I'm going to multiply that times 4, or multiply that times the perimeter of my base. So I'm going to take the perimeter of my base times the slant height divided by 2. Or another way to think about it, 1/2 perimeter times slant height. Either way, whichever you feel comfortable with, play around with that, and that should feel comfortable with this. Okay, so really nicely, they gave us 6 inches for a slant height. We're assuming that it is a square pyramid, which it is, with a base of 4. So lateral area is going to be 1/2 times the perimeter of the base times my lateral area. Now recognize something, guys. So if I draw the net, right, triangle, 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 I essentially have four triangles I'm trying to figure out the area of. Okay, so 4, 4, 4, 4. Each time my height is 6. So it's like I'm taking base times height divided by 2 times 4. In fact, that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I want to take 1/2 times 16 times 6. So when I do that, I should get 48 inches squared. That should be the lateral area of that thing. So find the lateral area of a regular hexagonal pyramid with a base edge of 9 and a slant height of 7. Hexagonal means hexagon, so 6 sides. So hexagonal, 6 sides. Each side is 9. My slant height is 7. So again, 1/2 times perimeter times slant height. Perimeter is going to be 9 times 6 times my slant height, which is going to be 7. So 1/2 times 54 times 7 is going to give me that slant height. So that's going to give me 189 centimeters squared. There's my lateral area there. So surface area just takes it one step further. Okay, so you're going to take the perimeter times the slant height divided by 2 plus the area of the base. That's all it is. So you're going to take your lateral area plus the area of whatever the base is. So we might have to think a little bit, might have to put in some time and remember kind of right triangle trig and whatnot, because that can help you here. So surface area to the nearest tenth. This time they don't give us the slant height, they give us the altitude. But look at what's created here, guys. You have a 16 here. Half of that would be 6. Figuring out the L. That's a right triangle. Pythagorean theorem time. So run that through. So you get 17.09. I'm going to the nearest 10, so it'd be 17.1. Okay, so that's my slant height. Now, excuse me. Figuring out lateral area is going to be 1/2 times perimeter. 12, 24, 24, and 24 is 48 times 17.1. So multiply that times 48 divided by 2. So my lateral area is going to be 410.112 centimeters squared. So that's just a lateral area. Now, area of the base is going to be just 12 squared. So that's 144. So now my surface area is putting these two things together. So I'm going to add 144. So my surface area total is going to be 554.112 centimeters squared. There's my answer. So find the surface area of a square pyramid to the nearest tenth. So again, this time I'm given the slant height. I got to figure out my actual base here. So that's 5, that's 13. Wait, I don't need the altitude right now. All I need is that's 13, that's 10, it's a square. Boom, here we go. So perimeter times slant height plus the area of the base. So it's going to be 1/2. Perimeter is going to be 40. Slant height is going to be 13. Now, area of the base, 10 times 10. So that's going to be 260 plus 100. So that whole thing's going to be 360 meters squared. That's going to be my area. So surface area of a regular hexagonal prism to the nearest tenth. Okay, this is where I gotta look. There's my slant height, 8. Hexagonal means 6 sides. That means boom, 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 boom. So my surface area is going to be 1/2. Perimeter of this thing is going to be 30 times 8 plus the area of the base. And here's where things kind of get fun. So the lateral area is 120. So now if I look, this is a hexagon with a side of 5. So here's where I got to use a little bit of trig to figure out my area, because remember, in a hexagon or any kind of right triangle shape or any kind of regular hexagon, what I want to do is take 1/2 the perimeter times the apothem, which is that right there. So I've got to figure out what that is. So in a hexagon, I actually create a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So let's get a little bigger here. So 30, 60, 90. This is going to be 2.5. So that makes that 5. This makes this 2.5 times square root of 2. So that makes that 3.53. Okay, so then my perimeter is going to be 30 times that. So it's going to be 53.033. So that is my area of my base. So 53.033. So again, remember, this is kind of taking it back, but figure out the perimeter times the apothem divided by 2. And I'm going to add that to 120. And I get 173.033 centimeters squared. There's my answer. Good problem. Okay, so how does this change for a cone? Not a whole lot, really. I mean, this it's a little bit different for a lateral area in that basically what you're taking is this version. So kind of, if you look at it before, it was 1/2 times the perimeter times the slant height. Well, the perimeter of a circle, we call that the circumference, and that's 2 pi r. So if I substitute that in, kind of look what happens. I get 2 pi r times L. Well, I get 1/2 and 2. Those cancel out. So my lateral area just becomes pi times the radius times the slant height. So that kind of becomes my lateral area of a cone, just pi, radius, slant height multiplied together. Surface area of a cone just becomes that, pi, radius, slant height, plus pi r squared. Pi r squared, obviously, area of this bottom circle here. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Pi times the radius times the slant height is your lateral area. Plus, think here a little bit, figure out the area of a circle. So a waffle cone is 5.5 inches tall, diameter is 2.5. Find the lateral area of the cone. So lateral area, pi times radius times slant height. Waffle cone is 5.5 inches tall. Yeah. 5.5 inches tall, meaning that this is 5.5. The diameter is 2.5. That makes that 1.25. So I want to figure out that slant height. So I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem again. So I'm going to just do that quickly. Oops. So I get my slant height to be 5.64, rounded. So, you know the radius, you know that. So I'm going to go pi times 1.25 times 5.64. So 5.64 times 1.25 times pi, just all multiplied together. We're already into decimal land, so it's fine if I go one little more step. So I get that to be 22.5 square inches. So surface area of a cone, diameter 14.8, slant height of 15, that makes life easy. So diameter 14.8, that means radius is 7.4. So lateral area is going to be pi RL. So that's pi times 7.4 times 15. And then plus area of the base, so that's pi r squared. So that's going to be pi times 7.4 squared. So 15 times 7.4 is going to be 111 pi plus 7.4 squared is going to be 54.76 pi. So add 111 to that. So that's 165.76 pi centimeters squared. So as a decimal, so exact, kind of the approximate would be 520.75 centimeters squared. All right, hang with me, only one or two more. Surface area of the cone, pretty straightforward. Slant height, lateral height, pi r L plus, pi r squared. So it's going to be pi times 0.8 times 2.2 plus pi times 0.8 squared. So 2.2 times 0.8, so that's going to be 1.76 pi plus 0.64 pi so that's going to be 2.4 pi millimeters squared. Very, very tiny. So 2.4 pi is going to be 7.54 millimeters squared. Don't forget. Don't worry about that. That's nothing. Play around with this. Make sure you've got it straight, and we'll talk to you soon.